Hi everybody, I didn't have time yesterday to finish the bushfire dress, but I've almost done it today, so this is a catch up on where I'm at. This is the back of this is the skirt back, which I did in the end cut from the sky blue pattern. This is the bell-shaped skirt in 3 panels that's in the pattern. It's the back. This is the front of this, the dress. Okay, and the bodice is here, and the next step is for me to attach the bottom of the bodice to the skirt, and once that's done I can put the inset pockets in. You'll note I've cut them from different colours because I'm using up some scraps of fabric. So the reason I have to sew those together before I put the inset pockets in is because the pockets, the top of the pocket is actually into the bodice a little bit there, and falls below the waistline into the skirt. So I'm going to go away and do that right now and be back in a short amount of time. The inset pocket bags are now sewed into the side seams here and here. The reason why I didn't hesitate to use different colours for the pocket bags is, as you can see, hardly anything of them gets shown. So I'll show you the inside. This is the pocket bag on the inside. When the side seams are sewn, they're stitched along there, and that means that the bag is stayed back into the seam and doesn't flap around loosely inside like the way some pocket bags are constructed. They literally flap around loosely on the inside of the garment. And the back bodice is stitched to the back skirt. So I have very little to do to finish this dress now. I'm going to literally sew the side seams and underarm sleeves all in one fell swoop, and then I hem the sleeves, and I'm going to put a bias hem on the dress, and it will be finished in around about 15 minutes time, and I'll bring you back to see that result. Hi there! The bushfire is almost complete. It's only got one step to go to do the hem. This is the front. Well, I tried to resolve that problem with the flickering, but now it's too dark, so I'm going to have to try again. I'm sorry for that interruption. I've spent weeks trying to resolve the problem of my flickering video cam, and one of the problems that was, well, one of the possibilities that was suggested to me is because I have fluorescent lighting in the studio, and sometimes I found it works if I turn my fluorescent lights off and rely on natural lights, and sometimes it makes no difference at all. Now this is the back of the bushfire. I obviously cannot fit the whole garment into the camera here, it's too long, but tomorrow I will give you one of those tours. I'll put the dress on a 3-dimensional dress model and tour around it with my camera, with my phone camera, and show you all the parts of it, talk about how they were made. Now the last thing to do here is the hem, and I put bias on this hem because it's a bit curved, and the bias I'm going to use is the same as what I used on the neckline. which is bias, but I applied it in a way that I get this little bit of a frayed edge happening here. I'll see if I can zero in a bit on that for you to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so unfortunately my focus is out of focus, and trying to adapt it doesn't work either. Yeah, so this is bias. It's nice and clean on the inside, and I've turned it out here, done that little decorative zigzag feature there, and frayed the edge somewhat. So this fabric that I used for the bias is a curtain I collected a couple of years ago, probably from the 70s or 80s, I think. A couple of meters of that fabric, you know, the sort of thing you pick up at a garage sale for $1. That's the fabric I'm using for the bias. It frays really nicely because it's very loose weave. And if you've ever worked with bias edging before, you want to do it with a really lightweight fabric. You don't want to use anything heavy or thick. It's going to turn out much nicer if you're using a really lightweight open weave kind of textile. So I'm going to discuss with you in the next video how I'm going to make this bias edging along the hemline in the same way as the neck, turned up with that little bit of frayed feature along there, and then the bushfire will be complete. Back again with the hem. The bias is now sewed on. I sewed it onto the wrong side, then I've pin stitched it along here. This is a technique, this pin stitching, which gives this hem a lot of strength and durability. It's part of my commitment to sustainability. I try to make all my garments from the very best, strongest sewing techniques, and the hem does get a lot of stress put on it through walking and brushing against things. So this hem is going to be very strong. Now all I'm going to do to finish it off is turn that up onto the right side, and I'm going to zigzag along here and let that top edge fray somewhat, and I shall be back in a moment to show you the finished effect. And this is the finished hem. Very clean on the inside, and it's got that little bit of frayed fringing there on the outside. It's a finish I just recalled I showed on another video a few weeks ago I used with another garment. Okay, so Catherine will be here in a few days to pick up this dress and a couple of others I'm making for her. So I'm hoping she might model them and give me permission to show you what they look like. So that's the end of the bushfire.